I've always found the best places to work are ones you feel inspired in, one that acts as a sort of catalyst for your creativity, and most of all, one that's just exciting to go to every day. With this new studio space, I've tried my best to achieve that, taking everything I've learned from my home office and bringing it with me to make something I'm truly happy with, while also ensuring the space is more functional and streamlined at the same time. I'm also sharing this space for the first time with Rachel, who I run Kiroku Studio with, which is our small business, and actually that felt like a fitting name for the entire space as a whole. So welcome to Kiroku Studio. Let's take you on a tour. We've been working in this space now for around 2 to 3 months, but for the first month we really didn't do a huge amount. It was a completely blank space and we were sitting on the floor packing out Kiroku orders or just trying to decide how we wanted the space to look. And we ended up designing it on iPad, as we always end up doing, but after planning it all out and a fair few trips to IKEA and back, we finally got the place to where we wanted it to be. And the biggest leap of faith that we took was painting this entire wall pink. And one of the main reasons for that, and the whole ethos of this entire studio space, is to make sure that every angle looked good to shoot from. So I could take photos or videos at any part of this office and it would look good without me having to dress it. And I'm really happy to say, with this pink wall and everything else we put in here, we've pretty much got that. But let's start off with the new desk setup, because quite a lot has changed here from my home one, and you'll probably already notice it's way simpler than it was before. The biggest change for me here is going to a standing desk, which is something I've always wanted to try, and with this new space I thought, why not go for it. The desk itself is still made from parts, so the tabletop is the IKEA Carby, which I've been using at home a lot, which I really like, but the legs are from PlexiSpot. I just got these off Amazon, and using a few screws it's all drilled together. This was pretty easy to set up and the result is really nice, but I think over time a lot will probably change here. As for what's on my desk, my main computer is my Mac Studio. This is the M1 Max variant with 32GB of RAM, and it's been absolutely fantastic for everything I do in a creative fashion. For all my video editing and photo editing and any design work, it absolutely blazes through all of it, and I couldn't be happier with that purchase. For a monitor, I'm actually using the Apple Studio display again, and you've been following this channel for a while, you might remember I had one of these before and then ended up returning it because it just wasn't for me. But in this space, it's actually made a lot of sense. I didn't like it before because of the lack of inputs, but here in the studio, the only thing I'm connecting to it is my Mac, and I just wanted something which was really simple and looked really clean, and this was just the go-to choice. I know it's expensive, and I know for a lot of people it's just not the right thing, and I still stand by what I originally said. If you want more than one input, this isn't the monitor to go for, but it's got a decent speakers built in, it looks incredible, and it's got a webcam, so it's kind of got everything I need all packed into one monitor, which is great. For my keyboard, I'm using the NuFi Halo 65. I absolutely love this keyboard. I've tried so many, but for me this one always rises back to the top because it's just the perfect one in terms of size, in terms of tactileness, and I just like the style of how this one looks as well. Not to mention this one's got the Squirtle keycap in it, which I'm still really pleased with. For a mouse, I'm using the Logitech MX Master 3S for Mac, which I really like. I'm a big fan of Logitech MX Master series for mice. I think they do a really great job, and having that scrolly wheel for me when I'm scrolling timelines on things like Final Cut is just essential. I can't work without it, so I really like that mouse. Both of those are sitting on a Grove-made desk mat, and I'm actually really happy to tell you that they're today's sponsor. I've been a really big fan of Grove-made for a long time, and when I was moving into this space, they were really happy to help me out with getting some things in place, and this desk mat is one of them. What I like about these is they come in a variety of sizes, and I always pick the smaller option because I think it looks really nice and clean, but these come in a load of materials as well. I've used their desk shelves at home as well, which I'm also a huge fan of, and I probably will end up getting one here, but maybe the smaller size one. And also I've got to shout out the Grove-made iPhone stand. This is what I have on my desk as well, and it's probably the most beautiful stand for the iPhone I've ever used. You just put your MagSafe charger into it, and then it holds the iPhone in a really pleasing manner. It's really weighty as well, so it feels really high quality and all those sorts of things. Grove-made have actually provided a bunch of stuff for this studio, so you'll probably hear me talk about it a lot later on, but if you want to check any of it out, check out the link in the description below. And obviously a huge thank you goes out to Grove-made for helping sponsor this video. You may have also noticed that my desk directly faces Rachel's desk as well. We moved our monitors to the side a little bit so we can talk to each other a lot more freely and show each other new designs or new product ideas, and it also leaves the end of both of our desks to sketch out ideas or just to collaborate a lot easier. It's been a really great setup for that. And of course, to round up the desk, I have the Pocky's Cafe mug, which we produce here at Kiroku Studio. Okay, let's talk about the pink wall, because this is the part of the studio which I'm most proud of, to be honest, because it's kind of everything I'd always envisioned at home, but now I have the space to completely bring it here to the studio. One of the things we both really wanted from the start was to fill one wall with frames of artwork which we really love. Loads of this artwork is kind of Japanese and Asian inspired, which is a style we both really love, and I'll try my absolute best to list all the artists below so you can check them out too. But this adds such a nice vibe to the studio, and when you come into the door you get a real sense of the sort of thing that we're trying to create here. Also, to add to the frames we got up there, we were using a Samsung The Frame TV, which is a beautiful screen which we just use to either stream lo-fi stuff on, or to watch YouTube, or even watch loads of Netflix while we're working. This is great because it just fits into the wall and it doesn't look like a TV, it looks like a frame, so it kind of just fits into that wall really nicely. Underneath that frame as well, I had to bring in a Nintendo Switch, and we'll sometimes use this to play Super Smash Bros or some Mario Kart, usually to try and decide who's going to make coffee that day. Next to the Switch is my little orange practice amp as well for some guitar or bass playing, which I must admit I don't do that often anymore, but occasionally I'll crack out the bass and just chill out of that for a little bit, obviously quite quietly because we're in a shared space now, but it's still nice and fun to have. Something else we have on that wall as well, this is another thing from Grove Made. These are two of their shelves, and these are absolutely beautiful and they look really great on the wall, but one of the things I'm using it for is something I brought from my home office, and that's to have a camera shelf. This shelf is great because it means I can grab any camera and any lens really quickly and start using them straight away. I don't like having them packed away somewhere because I have to get them out, so having this instant access to any camera I want is just super useful, and it streamlines everything I need to do when it comes to creating content. On the higher shelf we've got some really nice books and some plants as well, but we want to fill this entire shelf with books at some point so we can just get them out for reference, and I still really like to use books as props in all of my B-roll shots as well. And of course on that wall I have the classic IKEA pegboards. I've loved these for a really long time, and this time around I'm using them to show off all of my keyboards, or my favourite ones at least. Some of these are from NewFi, some of these are from Melgeek, but they're all fantastic, and sometimes I like to chop and change, so it's nice having direct access to them here, and they also look really nice on the wall too. Aside from a few other plants and some other frames, the last two things here are both from IKEA. The first one is this little chair which I'm sitting on right now. This is a really nice one and it came in green, so we kind of had to have it against the wall. And the last thing I have here is another desk, and this is for all of the products and B-roll shots I get. This is something else which I had at home, and once again it's made from parts from IKEA, and it's on casters as well, so I can move this around, get all the shots that I need to get, maybe even make brand new setups and things like that, and it's absolutely fantastic for that. It matches the studio space really nicely, and it also means if someone else needs to come and work in here for the day, they can too. Okay, let's return back to the front of the office, because the first thing you see when you come in are two pegs where we hang our bags. These are really nice simple pegs. I just picked them up from Amazon, and because they're wooden, they just kind of fit the vibe of the studio. They're really great, and it almost feels like you're going back to school when you hang up your bag. But on top of those pegs is another item from Grove Made. This is their catch-all shelf. It acts as a small shelf, so you can put all of your EDC items on there, like your wallet or your phone or your AirPods or anything like that. But it also holds your keys as well in a really pleasing fashion. Next to that on the right is a visitor board, which is anyone that comes to the studio, we take a little Polaroid photo of them with our Fujifilm Instax camera and stick them on the visitor board as a nice kind of memory of everybody that came. Which actually reminds me, give me a second, as you're all touring this space and you've gotten this far into the video, I think it's only fair that I add you as well. So there you go, I've got a Polaroid of you, so I'll stick that on the visitor board so you've kind of all been here as well. On the left of those bag pegs is our new coffee station, and this is a wonderful little area of the studio because obviously it means we can make a coffee whenever we want to. But I have to talk about these lockers first. These are from Mustard Made and they're absolutely gorgeous. We're using this midi one to hold all of our coffee and kind of snack supplies on the first shelf. The second shelf is a camera charging station for all of the cameras and all the other batteries and charging things that I need. And in the 20, which is the large one, I'm holding all of my filming equipment and we're also holding all of our Kiroku stock in there. I'm so happy with how the green looks against the pink wall, and it just adds so much to the space. So lastly, this new studio had to be better than my home office to film in. One of the few ways I've done that is to put absolutely everything on wheels. So all of my lighting stands, all of my tripods and C-stands and things like that are all on wheels. So I can move them around the studio as and when, and it's just really, really useful. The other thing I've done is install this huge blue photography backdrop for filming clean shots like this and for doing any sort of photography I need to do. A lot of my thumbnail work requires a huge colored background, so now having this, it just makes the whole thing easier. There's actually a lot more space up there for some different color rolls as well, which we'll definitely get in the future, but for now it's just the blue one. And finally, the last thing is everything's in really close proximity to my Mac, so I can literally get off this chair, check my footage immediately, come back and sit back down if I need to, and all of it has just made the whole experience of filming in here so much better. So there you have it. This is the brand new Kiroku Studio, and this is the new HQ for everything I do here with Bite Review and everything that Rachel and I are doing together with Kiroku. Something I've always wanted to capture in an office or studio space is the sense that you can feel it through the photos and videos or just a spoken description of the room. I wanted you to feel like you're here with me in the studio while you're watching one of my videos, and hopefully there's a nice sense of that now, but I'm going to keep working on the space until it really feels that way. Thanks again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the tour and the new studio space. If you did, leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think about the place. If you were interested in seeing what my home desk setup was like, then I'll leave that here at the end. And as ever, I'll see you all in the next one.